Before we start, take a moment and tell me in the comments where you are listening from. Maybe you are someone who tends to think that messages addressed specifically to you are just clever marketing tricks, designed to make you feel special for a moment, to catch your attention. Maybe you assume that when public figures speak about personal communications, they are somehow speaking to everyone at the same time, and yet to no one in particular. Maybe you have never paused to consider that sometimes there really is something that can only be said to one person at a time, something so personal, so intimate, that it completely loses its power and meaning when shared with a crowd, no matter how large that crowd may be. This conversation is not for everyone, it is for you. I want to share something I have never said publicly before. Something I can only say to you directly, because if I were to say it to everyone, the message would be diluted, its force diminished, and it would lose the power to touch the person who needs it the most in this exact moment. This is not about business announcements, future plans, or the topics people typically associate with my communications. This is about something deeply personal, immediate, and transformative. You are standing at a crucial junction in your life, right now, facing a choice that will define not only who you become but the impact you can make on the world in the years to come. Today I am speaking to you because I believe you are the one who needs to hear this, not because of your age, background, or status, but because your current circumstances have brought you here. At this exact moment, where hearing these words could alter the course of your entire life, the message is simple yet profound. You are on the verge of giving up on something far more significant than you realize. Giving up now would be the single biggest mistake of your life. I know this because I can see signs in your situation that you may not see yourself. You have been pursuing something important, not merely a career goal or financial target, but something deeper, a reflection of who you want to be, the mark you want to leave on the world. Yet, you have been facing obstacles that feel insurmountable, setbacks that seem to whisper that you are not capable, and criticism or indifference from people who support you counted on. You may even have begun to question whether your goals are realistic, whether you have what it takes, or whether your effort is worth the enormous cost in time, energy, and emotional strain. Most dangerously, you may be rationalizing giving up, convincing yourself that your original dreams were naive or overly ambitious, that adjusting to smaller goals is maturity rather than defeat. But you are wrong. I need you to truly understand this before you make a decision you will regret for the rest of your life. What you are thinking about abandoning is not just a goal or a project or a dream. It is the essence of you, the part that believes you can create something meaningful, the part that refuses to accept limits others have taken for granted, the part that sees possibilities where others see only obstacles. If you let this go now, you are not merely changing plans or adjusting timelines, you are destroying the most valuable part of your character, the part that makes you capable of contributions that no one else can make. Keep going. I've been exactly where you are right now, not just once, but multiple times in my life. There have been countless moments in building every company when moving forward seemed utterly impossible. Moments when the rational, logical choice appeared to be cutting losses and moving on to something safer and more achievable. Tesla and SpaceX were both on the verge of bankruptcy at different points, and I had invested everything I had from previous successes. I was staring at the real possibility of losing not just my companies, but also my personal wealth, reputation, and the credibility I had spent years building. Friends, advisors, and even some board members urged me to focus on saving one company rather than attempting to save both. The logical, safe choice was to accept that I had overextended myself, to acknowledge that trying to revolutionize both the automotive and space industries at the same time was simply more than one person could handle. But something deep inside me refused to accept that logic, not because I was blindly confident in guaranteed success, but because I understood that the work itself, the mission, and the impact of the effort were far more important than personal comfort, financial security, or temporary peace of mind. I realized that if these companies failed simply because I gave up rather than because the problems were genuinely unsolvable, I would never forgive myself. I would spend the rest of my life wondering what could have been possible if I had found the strength to persist through the difficulties. More importantly, I understood that the person I would become by giving up would be fundamentally different from the person I would become by continuing to fight for something I believed in. Regardless of the outcome, the choice wasn't merely about success or failure. It was about deciding whether I would become someone who abandoned his deepest commitments when things became difficult, or someone who remained true to his values and vision even when doing so required sacrifice, courage, and facing uncertainty. That realization completely changed the way I viewed obstacles. Instead of seeing them as evidence that our goals were unrealistic, I began to see them as the natural price of attempting something meaningful, the kind of resistance that proves you are working on something that truly matters. This is crucial for you to understand about your own situation. The difficulties you face are not signs that you should give up. They are signs that you are working on something important enough to be difficult. Easy things don't change the world. Comfortable challenges don't develop the kind of character that enables extraordinary contributions. The resistance you face is not random misfortune. It is the inevitable response of a world that resists change and innovation. Most people give up exactly at the moment when persistence could have made the difference between ordinary failure and extraordinary success. They misinterpret difficulty as proof of impossibility rather than proof of significance. But you have the opportunity to choose differently. You can view these challenges as the cost of attempting something worthwhile, rather than reasons to lower your expectations or abandon your goals. The specific project or goal you are considering giving up on may seem like one among many, but it is not. It is the manifestation of your belief that you can create something valuable, that your efforts can make a difference, that the world can improve through persistence and innovation. If you abandon this now, you risk making it harder to access this belief in the future. But if you persist, you will prove to yourself that you are capable of continuing even when continuation seems impossible. You will develop resilience and determination that will make future challenges more manageable rather than more intimidating. This isn't about blind optimism or denying real limitations. It's about discerning obstacles that require new strategies versus those that demand abandoning worthy goals. Most of the barriers you face are solvable if approached creatively and persistently. The question isn't whether solutions exist, it's whether you will continue to find them when the work becomes uncomfortable, uncertain, or demanding. I'm telling you this because I can see something in your situation that you might not be able to see yourself. You are much closer to a breakthrough than you realize. Every bit of progress you've made, every skill you've developed, the lesson you've learned through trial and error, all of these are investments that will compound dramatically if you continue. The next 6 months of your life are pivotal. They will determine whether you become someone who perseveres through major challenges or someone who retreats when things get difficult. The choice you make will shape not only this particular goal, but also how you approach every future challenge that demands sustained effort, courage, and focus. Your family, your friends, and even those who look up to you will learn far more from observing how you face this moment than from any advice or teachings you could give them. The part of yourself that set these goals deserves the opportunity to see what you can achieve when you refuse to accept defeat. Every challenge you face right now, no matter how overwhelming, is part of building a mindset capable of extraordinary accomplishments. The resistance you encounter is not a signal to quit, but a signal that you are on the right path, tackling something truly significant. Easy paths never leave a mark on the world, but challenges forge resilience, creativity, and determination that will serve you for a lifetime. By choosing to persist, you will cultivate the inner strength to navigate future obstacles more confidently. You will prove to yourself that continuation, even under pressure and uncertainty, is possible. The belief you hold in your purpose, your vision, and your ability to create value is not abstract. It is the foundation upon which you can build achievements that others cannot. Every temporary setback, every criticism, and every moment of doubt is preparing you for a success that is still ahead. The choice to continue is not just about completing this task, it is about defining the person you are becoming. If you allow yourself to retreat now, you risk teaching yourself that giving up is the reasonable response to difficulty. But if you push forward, you will solidify a habit of perseverance that will carry you through challenges far beyond this moment. You are closer to realizing your potential than you think, and the next step is simply to keep moving, keep striving, and keep believing in your capacity to overcome. This is the time to embrace the discomfort, to face the uncertainty, and to recognize that the struggles you are enduring are precisely the sign that your efforts matter. As I sat there holding that mission statement, the reality hit me. Giving up was never about acknowledging practical limitations. It was a matter of identity, of defining who I wanted to become. Would I be someone who abandoned his deepest commitments at the first sign of difficulty? Or would I be someone who pursued what he believed was meaningful, no matter how hard it got? I deleted the email I had drafted announcing a shutdown. Instead, I dedicated the next 4 hours to writing a completely different message to our team, sharing why I believed we would continue, how our failures had been teaching us essential lessons, and why our next attempt would succeed because of the knowledge we had gained from previous setbacks. I sent that email at 3 a.m. on Christmas Eve, feeling a profound sense of resolve and clarity, knowing I had placed my trust in the work itself rather than my comfort or personal reputation. 3 months later, our 4th rocket launch succeeded. Within 2 years, NASA contracts not only secured our company's future but also validated every effort we had made. Yet, the true victory was not money or recognition, it was understanding the power of persistence, of refusing to succumb to doubt and obstacles that stop most people from achieving the extraordinary right now. You are in your own 23rd of December moment. You are standing at the edge of a choice, the person you become by giving up versus the person you become by continuing despite fear, difficulty, or uncertainty. No matter how impossible persistence seems, the voice advising you to be realistic and practical is not wisdom, it is fear dressed as rationality. Those who suggest you lower your expectations or pursue easier paths may be accurate about the challenges, but they are wrong about what those challenges signify. Difficulty is not a signal of impossibility. It is proof that you are engaged in something that matters deeply. The hardest problems, the ones that stretch you beyond what you thought possible, are where extraordinary contributions are born. Easy problems have already been solved by others. Right now, you might be surrounded by naysayers who see your goals as unrealistic, who cite your setbacks as proof that you should abandon or compromise your vision. But they do not grasp the truth. Monumental achievements always appear impossible until they are inevitable. They misinterpret the resistance that comes before great accomplishment as evidence that it cannot be done. The truth is, you are likely closer to success than anyone, including yourself, realizes. The skills you have developed, the knowledge you have gained, the networks you have built, and the wisdom acquired from your failures are investments that compound rapidly once momentum begins. Most people give up just before this compounding becomes visible. They mistake the long, hard struggle for futility when, in fact, they are approaching the tipping point where exponential results start to unfold. This is what I need you to do for the next 30 days. Commit fully to moving forward as if giving up is not an option. Don't obsess over the ultimate outcome, and don't try to predict whether you will succeed or fail. Your focus should be on the immediate work, the problems in front of you, and maintaining consistent forward momentum no matter how uncertain the path feels. During these 30 days, you will discover resources, solutions, and strengths that you didn't realize you had. Challenges that once seemed insurmountable will begin to feel manageable. When you stop wasting energy debating whether to continue and start applying that energy to figuring out how to move forward, you will reconnect with the purpose and vision that motivated you at the beginning, before setbacks, criticism, or self-doubt clouded your judgment. This period is not about blind optimism, but about disciplined persistence, proving to yourself that you can continue through discomfort, frustration, and obstacles that once felt overwhelming. Each small step will accumulate into tangible progress, and each victory, no matter how minor it seems, will reinforce your confidence and resilience. By the end of 30 days, you will be in a stronger position to assess your situation with clarity and make decisions based on evidence and momentum, rather than fear or discouragement. These 30 days are your test, your opportunity to rebuild belief in yourself and the work that matters. If you commit fully, you will find that giving up is no longer an option because the rewards of persistence, the clarity of purpose, and the rediscovered strength will outweigh every doubt, every criticism, and every challenge. You will see that your efforts are not in vain, that every problem you solve and every obstacle you overcome compounds into your personal growth, your experience, and your eventual breakthrough. This is the time to prove to yourself that you are capable of achieving more than you've ever imagined.